Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening and welcome to the 9 p.m. news telecast of the prestigious channel of Sri Lanka. I'm Charita Vinuparachi.
And I'm Kasani Balachandra Adhikari. We start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
62,000 new recruits for government service. Constitutional Council approves the appointment of Priyantha Veerasurya as the new IGP. Youth movement is no longer a political tool. A campaign to create leaders for the future of the country, says the President. Former Provincial Councillor of Homagama, Shanta shot dead. A suspect taken into custody. A warrant issued to arrest former Minister Rajitha Senaratne. Healthy food, happy life media campaign on national television. President Trump extends the tariff concession for China by a period of another 90 days.
On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with the top local story. The Constitutional Council approved the appointment of Acting Inspector General of Police Priyantha Veerasurya as the new IGP.
The Constitutional Council met in the Parliament today under the leadership of the Speaker. President Andra had proposed the name of Acting Inspector General of Police Priyantha Veerasurya for the approval of the Constitutional Council after the removal of Deshabandhu Thenakone from the IGP post. Accordingly, the Constitutional Council, which met today, had approved his name. He will become the 37th IGP of the Police Department.
President Andra emphasized the urgent need to foster a new generation of responsible young leaders, rejecting the concept of political dynasties. The President made these remarks at the Youth Club National Youth Conference held at the Subudadasa Stadium in Colombo this morning. The conference was held this year after a lapse of 32 years. Over 6,000 youth throughout the island were present at this conference. Before the event, forming of youth clubs at regional level was held island-wide. At this national conference, the newly appointed office bearers were introduced. President Andra said that the National Youth Conference was the most discussed and most anticipated youth event in recent times. He noted that in the past, many sectors in the country had been driven by the desire for political power, and that the country had been driven by the desire for political power, and that within the youth movement there had rarely been opportunities for individuals to progress based on their own talents and aspirations. The President said that the deep political transformation in the country had changed the youth movement from being merely a pawn of political ambitions into a platform that nurtured leaders who would take responsibility for the country's future. He said that the transformation was clearly reflected in the journey leading to the National Youth Conference. The President said that it was not surprising that some people felt uneasy as the movement was now focused on giving young people their rightful place and building a responsible young leadership that understood how the nation's future should be shaped and what duties they must bear. He stressed that this was not about creating tools to maintain family dynasties or political power for long periods, but about making the youth the real custodians of the country's future. The President emphasized that while he and his colleagues currently held positions such as the presidency, ministerial portfolios and parliamentary seats, they did so with the understanding that a time would come to step aside. He said that he had no intention of clinging the power indefinitely, and adding that they had taken over political power from a destructive group and intended to hand it over to the next generation in due course. President Dissanayake said that the government's aspirations was to create a new generation within the youth movement that could quickly adjust to the fast-growing knowledge of the modern world and adopt it. He added that the future of the country must be entrusted in the new generation, and the compassion and empathy must remain core values. The President was presented with a souvenir to mark the participation of the National Youth Conference. This occasion was also graced by the presence of Minister of Youth Affairs and Sports Sunil Kumar Gamage, Deputy Ministers Eranga Gunasekara, Sugat Tilakaratne, Members of Parliament, foreign ambassadors, government officials and invited guests, including Chairman and the Director General of the National Youth Services Council, Attorney at Law Supun Vijayaratne.
Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Nalin Jayatissa says that the Cabinet has given its approval to recruit over 62,000 to government service. He made these remarks at a press briefing to announce the Cabinet decisions today. Minister Dr. Nalin Jayatissa said that a committee had been appointed under the leadership of the Prime Minister's Secretary to take decisions regarding state sector recruitments. Over the past 8 months, approval had been granted to recruit around 62,314 new employees to the state service. They explained that some of these recruitments were in their final stages, with certain positions requiring written examinations and others requiring interviews. The minister added that graduates could apply for these opportunities and that in the future, the Minister of Education is expected to recruit thousands of teachers. They stressed that the intention was not to take in 50,000 to 60,000 people at once without any plan and then keep them idling, but rather to recruit in a highly systematic manner considering the current economic situation, the need to expand the state service to provide better public services and the requirements of long-term projects being implemented in the country. Minister Dr. Nalin Jayatissa further said that more approvals were expected in the future, allowing others to apply, and that some who had already applied were now working in the state sector. He stated that this was not something to make a protest about, but rather an opportunity being provided, and that the only responsibility for applicants to participate in the relevant application process. The minister also responded to a question raised by a journalist with regards to the Supreme Sat. Minister Dr. Nalin Jayatissa said that there is no satellite registered under the name of Sri Lanka in the records of the International Telecommunication Union, the United Nations agency responsible for global coordination of information and communication technologies. The minister explained that the ITU's standard procedure for launching a satellite involves 3 stages: submitting technical details of the planned satellite network, coordinating with other member states to avoid interference, and notifying final parameters for registration and international recognition. The process typically takes between 3 and 7 years. According to ITU data, there is currently no satellite named Sri Lanka occupying these orbital slots. Minister Jayatissa said checks were made for a satellite called Supreme Sat 1, which was reportedly later renamed China Sat 2, but neither name appears in the ITU's records.
The Ministry of Health and Mass Media and Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation expect to jointly implement the Healthy Food, Happy Life, the National Media Mission, to launch a health promotion program on the nutrition of Sri Lankans. These views have been expressed at the cabinet briefing held today at the Department of Government Information. The Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to the resolution furnished by the Minister of Health and Mass Media, Dr. Nalin Jayatissa, to launch the said nutrition media program by Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation under the supervision of the Ministry of Health and Mass Media. Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Nalin Jayatissa said that Clean Sri Lanka program was being introduced through 3 key sectors: social, environmental and ethical. He stated that 39 projects have currently been planned under this initiative, with a total allocating of 4,545 million rupees. He further explained that 1,703 million rupees has been allocated for 9 social sector projects, 1,571 billion rupees for 20 projects in the environmental sector, and 1,270 million rupees for 10 projects in the ethical sector. The 78th conference of the Regional Committee meeting for Southeastern Asia of the World Health Organization is planned to be held in Sri Lanka from 13th to the 15th of October 2025. In order to is planned to be held in Sri Lanka, an objective of the Ministries of Health, hierarchy of the Ministers of the Health and officials from 11 countries are to be participated in the event. Therefore, the Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to the resolution furnished by Minister of Health and Mass Media, Dr. Nalin Jayatissa, to the health event. The government has recognized the development of renewable energy development as a national priority program and the renewable energy as aiming at accomplishing 70% of electricity generation from renewable sources by 2030 and reach the zero carbon level at the generation of electricity by 2050. Therefore, considering the importance of floating solar power as a new methodology in the development of solar power, the Cabinet of Ministers granted approval to the resolution furnished by Minister of Power, Engineer Kumar to inaugurate the procurement process. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved the proposal presented by Minister of Buddhism, Religious and Cultural Affairs, Dr. Hinidupa Sunil Senavi, to declare the pilgrimage to the Ayyappan Kovil in Sabarinamalai, Kerala, India, as a government-accepted sacred pilgrimage. The provision of 2,000 million rupees has been allocated from the 2025 budget to implement the district development program as a national level development program covering all the districts of the island. The objective of this program is the improvement of infrastructure facilities and promotion of local production abilities. Accordingly, the cabinet has approved the proposal presented by President Andra to allocate the provisions outlined in the 2025 budget to each district for the implementation of the district development program 2025 based on the district poverty level of Sri Lanka published by the Department of Census and Statistics using the multi-dimensional poverty index to identify the poverty. The Cabinet granted approval to the proposal submitted by the Minister of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs Dr. Hindudupa Sunil Senavi to appoint R.M. Gamini Senaratna. The officer is in special grade of Sri Lanka Administrative Service to the post of Commissioner General of Buddhist Affairs. The Cabinet also approved the appointment of former Director General of Information Technology Management Department of the Ministry of Finance K. Ravindra Padmapriya as the new General Manager of the Railways.
The police have discovered the vehicle at the Palamthuna junction in Battaramulla that was used in the shooting targeting former Homagama Pradesh Sabha member Shanta in Migura today. The weapon used in this incident has also been found. A group came from motor vehicle shot at former councillor who was travelling on a motorbike at Artigalamavata in Migura this afternoon. The councillor succumbed to his injuries after admitting to the Homagama Base Hospital with fatal injuries. He is a 46-year-old resident in Vataraka, Padukka. The police have been able to seize the fleeing vehicle at a police road barrier in Palamthuna junction. At the time of arrest, only the driver was in the vehicle and police have recovered the pistol that was used for the shooting concealed under the driver's seat. Police media spokesman ASP F.U. Bootler said that 3 police teams have been deployed for further investigations into this incident.
The Colombo Magistrates Court issued warrants today to arrest and produce before the court former Minister Rajitha Senaratne, who has been named as a suspect in an investigation being conducted by the Bribery Commission. This decision of the court has come after considering the facts produced by the Bribery Commission that he is hampering the investigation process by evading the provision of the statements. Assistant Legal Director of the Bribery Commission Sulochana Hettiarachchi stated in court that the former minister had approved a project to remove sand from the Kirinda Fisheries Harbour as per a proposal by a Korean company on the 19th of May 2012, calling the concerned case for hearing through a motion today. The accepted norm is to approve such a project after studying the concerned environmental reports and other reports and representing those proposals to a ministerial subcommittee before the commencement of such a project. The Assistant Director General of Bribery Commission told the court that the former minister had issued the approval deviating from the accepted methodology following in this process. She detailed in the court that a loss of about 26.2 million rupees has been incurred to the Fisheries Harbour Corporation by this project.
A private bus collided head-on with a tipper on the Batoya Bridge along the Habaranam-Inneria main road early this morning, injuring 32 persons. It is reported that 5 of them are in critical condition. The Batoya Bridge is very narrow and the accident occurred while both vehicles attempted to cross the bridge simultaneously. The tipper with a load of sand toppled into a precipice of 20 feet, crashing the safety railing of the bridge. Army officials and residents of the area rushed to the scene and sent the injured to hospitals. They are now having treatment at the Polonnaruwa General Hospital, Hingaragoda and Dabulla Base hospitals. Meanwhile, a bus and a lorry transporting timber knocked each other in Kotahena in Kahawatha along the Ratnapura Ambelipitia main road. 11 passengers of the bus were injured and admitted to Kahawatha Base Hospital. There were over 35 passengers in the bus and several others of them had minor injuries and left the hospital having primary treatment.
And meanwhile, a program has been initiated to install new AI technology cameras in SLTB buses. The objective is to minimize accidents related to the SLTB buses. The program of installing AI technology cameras in SLTB buses was initiated by Minister Bimal Ratnayake. In the first stage of the program commenced in Katharagama, cameras were installed in 2 SLTB buses. SLTB bus met with a fatal accident at the Garandi Ella area recently, which belonged to the Katharagama depot. The primary cause of focusing the accident from Katharagama depot was various aspects, including the speed of the bus and whether the driver of the bus is fatigued, can be observed through these new technology cameras. Minister Bimal Ratnayake said that if drivers are exhausted, suffering, falling asleep at the wheel or closing their eyes due to drowsiness, if unsafe behaviors are occurring while operating a vehicle, those actions should be addressed by the system itself using artificial intelligence or capital intelligence technologies. He stated that such systems have already been used for years by some companies in Sri Lanka, but unfortunately they have not been applied to public transportation. The minister mentioned that discussions have been held with those companies and they have agreed to provide their expertise and technology to the companies and including equipment worth millions for use in public transport. He further stated that the Asia Logistics Company has agreed to provide support and the necessary technology for the implementation. He added that they hope to install this technology in 40 SLTB buses initially.
20th death anniversary of the late former Foreign Minister Lakshman Katharagama is today. Lakshman Katharagama occupies a unique place in the history of this country for taking Sri Lanka to the international stage and leading the global diplomatic campaign against LTTE terrorism. A short memo of the late leader follows.
Today, as we mark the 20th anniversary of the passing of the great statesman Lakshman Katharagama, we gather in deep gratitude to honor a life of purpose and unwavering service to Sri Lanka. Born in Jaffna in April 1932, he was nurtured from Sri Lanka's rich cultural fabric, which he cherished all the time. At Trinity College, Kandy, he excelled in both academics and sports. After earning a law degree from the University of Ceylon, he passed with distinction from Ceylon Law College and was admitted to the bar in 1955. He later studied at Balliol College, Oxford, where he became president of the Oxford Union, reflecting his intellect and global vision. His early career spanned borders. As a lawyer and international civil servant, including at the International Labour Organization in Geneva and the World Intellectual Property Organization, he deepened his global insight. His appointment as the Foreign Minister of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka in 1994 marked an epoch in the modern history of Sri Lanka's diplomatic spectrum. He brought with him wisdom, experience, and more than all, a deep love for Sri Lanka.
Kumar was much more than an outstanding lawyer and diplomat. He was a visionary leader who believed in the unity, dignity, and the strength of common national identity. He championed the values of inclusion and reconciliation long before they became global aspirations. One of his most enduring contributions to Sri Lanka and the international community was his instrumental role in securing the recognition of the Day of Vesak by the United Nations. The adoption of Resolution 54/115 titled International Recognition of the Day of Vesak in 1999 not only honored the spiritual heritage of Sri Lanka and the Buddhist world, but also carried forward the message of peace, compassion, and understanding to the global stage.
A special commemoration ceremony was held this morning in Colombo to mark the 20th anniversary of late former Foreign Minister Lakshman Kadragama. The event was held under the patronage of Minister Vijitha Herath. The commemoration ceremony was held at the Lakshman Kadragama Institute of International Relations and Strategic Studies in Colombo this morning. Minister Vijitha Herath paid floral tributes at the statue of Lakshman Kadragama. An almsgiving was also conducted. Wife of the late leader Sugandhi Kadragama and officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs participated at the event. More stories coming right after this break.
Prima Stella. Api හැමෝම කැමති.
Welcome back with more local stories. And a meeting between President Andra and heads of the Fox Group in Vietnam was held this evening at the President's office. Representatives of the Fox Group said that they are ready to invest in Sri Lanka considering the current stability and the investment-friendly environment in the country. They said that accordingly they expect government support to establish an industrial zone in Sri Lanka. Expressing views, the President said that the government is ready to provide every possible assistance to create a conducive environment for the investors. Heads of the Fox Group, President Secretary Dr. Nandika Sanath Kumar, President Senior Advisor and the President Senior Assistant Secretary Roshan Gamage and several others were also present at this meeting.
High Commissioner of India Santosh Jha met Prime Minister Dr. Harinama Surya at the Prime Minister's office yesterday. The importance of building a stronger cooperation between the two countries, especially in the areas of education, was highlighted. The Prime Minister stressed the need of the training program for officials in the education field to develop the skills in the area of leadership and planning, and pointed out the urgent need to address the teacher shortage of Tamil medium. She also shared an update on the ongoing education reforms in Sri Lanka aimed at improving access and quality. Yes.
And meanwhile, the Paddy Marketing Board says that it has purchased nearly 15,000 metric tons of paddy island-wide. Chairman of the board, Manjula Pinalanda, says that about 45% of the entire paddy cultivation has been harvested at present. Chairman of the Paddy Marketing Board, Manjula Pinalanda, said that of now, more than 13,000 metric tons of paddy have been received and harvesting has been completed in about 45 locations. He said that the majority of the harvest so far has come from Ampara region, while the harvesting initially began in Anuradhapura. He added that around 30% of the harvest still remains in the area. Farmers are currently supplying the paddy rapidly to the storage facilities. In addition, he mentioned that harvesting has also begun in the southern parts of the northern and eastern provinces, and the farmers there are also in the process of delivering their harvest to the storage centers.
The World Elephant Day, dedicated for the safety of elephants worldwide, falls today. A special ceremony was held today at the Pinnavala Elephant Conservatory to mark this event. This International Day for Elephants has been declared in 2012 with the objective of protecting Asian and African wild elephants and domesticated elephants. Another aim of this day is to facilitate conducive environment for elephants, preventing them from being shot down by hunters. The International Union for Conservation of Nature has entered African elephants to the red data list as vulnerable species and Asian elephant as a species subjected to threat of extinction. Sri Lanka's elephant population is estimated to be at around 7,500. As a species of tourist attraction, elephants have become a major factor in earning foreign exchange to the country. the World Elephant Day, the Humanities Association of the Kelaniya University conducted a special ceremony at the Pinnavala Elephant Conservatory with the participation of university students. Mahasangha chanted Setvirit and elephants were treated with fruit and nutritious kiribat. The Pinnavala Elephant Conservatory, which started in 1975, has become an attractive place for foreign tourists.
Astrophysicist and engineering lecturer Gihan Veerasekara says that the largest meteor shower of this year will be visible from midnight today and early dawn tomorrow. He stated that this is the second meteor shower within this year. Astrophysicist and engineering lecturer Gihan Veerasekara said that the first major meteor shower visible in 2025 could be seen tonight and early tomorrow morning. He said that this event would be associated with the Precious constellation and that up to 100 meteors per hour might be visible. He mentioned that if people could look towards the northern sky around 5 am, they would have a chance to see about 100 meteors per hour, and he also added that the best viewing would be from around midnight onwards. However, he noted that since Sri Lanka is located near the equator, there might be some difficulty in observing the shower clearly. He stated that the meteors could still be visible from Sri Lanka during the early hours of the morning.
Graduation Fashion Week 2025 and 40th anniversary of the Department of Textile and Apparel Engineering at the University of Moratuwa is now being held at the university premises. A host of events have been organized to mark the anniversary. The 15th edition of Graduation Fashion Week has been organized by the Department of Anniversary of the Department of Textile of the University of Moratuwa. Students of PTAS, the Fashion Design and Product Development degree program, showcased their latest innovations during the Fashion Week. Those collections have been produced with researchers driven by design innovation and market insights of undergraduates. This year showcases not only celebrates the achievements of young designers, but also directly aligns with the government's broader vision to promote local entrepreneurship, youth innovation and creative industries as vital sectors of national development. The Fashion Week will continue till the 15th of August and will be culminated with a grand fashion finale on Thursday and Friday of this week.
The final year students, they have spent 2 semesters in developing their final undergraduate project work. They present their project work as pieces of their own product development. And this is an exhibition at the same time. This is a fashion show. And this is a collective effort of 3 parties. The students themselves and the academic staff who are guiding them, supervising their project development. And both of them, students and the academic staff, they connect with the industry directly. Industry in Sri Lanka as well as in Europe, especially in the UK and North America, the USA.
This fashion show showcases the final year collections of the graduating students and is of great benefit to them in that it tells the industry and the world outside what their skills are, what their capabilities are, and not only to them, the industry also benefits as they can see that there are such resources in our country, and the students themselves while working towards this fashion show gain tremendously, developing their teamwork, showcasing their creativity, helping organization of the show and in diverse ways.
Foreign news on the other side of this break. Taking a look at your foreign news tonight, the United States and China have agreed to extend their trade truce for another 90 days, just hours before the world's 2 largest economies were set to increase tariffs on each other. On Monday, US President Donald Trump signed an executive order to keep the pause in place until 10th November, while Beijing also announced an extension. Under the agreement, the US will maintain a 30% levy on Chinese imports, and China will keep its 10% tariff on American goods. Earlier this year, Washington had threatened tariffs as high as 145% on Chinese products, with Beijing responding with 125% duties on US shipments. Those rates were scaled back following trade talks in Geneva in May. The latest extension aims to allow more time for negotiations on remedying trade imbalances and addressing unfair trade practices, the White House said, noting a nearly $300 billion trade deficit with China in 2024, the largest with any US trading partner. Talks will also focus on increasing US exporters' access to the Chinese market and tackling national security and economic issues. And in your sports news tonight, Sri Lankan players who won medals at the first World Athletic Continental Tour Trophy Championship held in India arrived in the island yesterday.
And the officials of the Sri Lanka Athletics Association, officials of Army and Air Force sports sections and several others were present at the airport to welcome them. The tournament was held in Bhubaneswar city. A team of 9 athletes represented Sri Lanka in this event. It is significant that 8 players of the team were able to bag medals. They won 2 gold, 2 silver and 1 bronze medal for Sri Lanka. And with that, we conclude tonight news. Do it just tomorrow at the very same time. I'm Charita, signing off with Kasuni. Stay safe and good night.
Good night.